Hi, Taurus. This is your reading for the week of March 9th, or when you hear it and it resonates. And of course, it will not be for every Taurus. Taurus, the feeling that I'm getting as I'm starting to work with your energy is a sense of you guarding your words. I'm getting a congestion in my throat right in here, and it's feeling to me as though you are negotiating between human feelings and emotions that might be reactive and linked to some childhood stuff, and balancing that between the higher part of you, the high heart, the loving heart, the part of your being that is linked to spiritual wisdom, higher conscious mind, high heart. That as you're balancing these two, it's like you can see yourself going reactive and then going, oh, but I don't really feel that, or I don't really need to do that. Okay, so what you're being told here about that is this is actually a part of the toggling part back and forth as you're learning how to integrate those uncomfortable emotions, and you're learning how to be able to understand more naturally, more organically, how to speak truth without harm. Because that's sometimes the thing that has caused you in the past to not speak up for yourself. Your fear of harming somebody else, whether it was through rejection, being rejected by them, fear of being rejected by them, or whether or not it was a fear of hurting their feelings, just generally hurting their feelings, it hasn't always been easy for you to be able to speak it. Ironic for Taurus, whose throat chakra is, well, actually, it's not ironic. The throat chakra is the thing we associate with the Taurus. Being able to communicate, melodic voice, nice singing ability to speak easily and well. But of course, as you probably know, we always have a tendency to have our strengths and our weaknesses in the same area. So you can also have Taurus people who find it difficult to speak. If there's a disconnection between their head and their heart, it will get stuck here in the throat. So what you're being told, Taurus, I didn't realize that. That's important. If you're getting stuck in your throat, it's probably because you're going here to here and then back to here and then back to here around whatever situation you're thinking of. What you're being asked to do is lighten up around it. Try not to take things personally. When you don't take things personally, the need to analyze it and understand it so much isn't there. And this is something they're just telling me now, which I really hadn't considered. And that is that. But on top of that, when you are able to not take things personally, immediately now what that does is it puts you more in a state of being non-defensive. So you're able to just surrender and let things be the way they are. Engage in whatever light-hearted energy you can engage in. And the interesting thing about you're getting childhood prayers. Now you could have gotten Take God With You, but you didn't. You get the childhood prayers. And the childhood prayers cards says specifically to resurrect whatever prayers you've done as a child, if you did any, and say them in the feminine gender. Now, in regards to this and the other stuff that I'm getting here, it's like, okay, you may have really challenged yourself to speak the truth and feel like now you must always speak the truth, when in fact, sometimes it's actually in your best interest, and it's not coming out of a pathology, to just step back and say nothing. So you're learning how to negotiate those things. And the reason I think the childhood prayers in the feminine gender is good is because the feminine energy, the yin energy, has the ability to sit and be receptive to what's going on without taking it in. Okay? Being receptive to understanding something doesn't mean we have to take it into our energy or into our bodies, which can be the tendency that earth signs often will do. What we can do is we can perceive it out here. And that's what happens when we don't take it personally. When we take it personally, we take it in, we have to digest it, we have to figure it out. That actually is a sign, can be a sign of an earth imbalance. over attention to detail, total analysis, really getting hyper vigilant. This is more of that feminine energy. If you're saying your prayers in the feminine gender, where in your energy can you apply softness? And that's what it feels like. It feels like to me in this upcoming week or so that walk softly and do your best to take nothing personally. Understand right now, Taurus, in many ways you have the ability to be more grounded if you're not you could be overly grounded and not move, but you can be grounded in a way where you're still able to be flexible and move. And that's what you're being asked, is to stay grounded. And so with this, my dears, my loves, the worry card comes up too, because that's very often the thing that's going to send us into overthinking. And overthinking can be a sign of worry that's just kind of getting camouflaged. It's got a good mask on it. But the overthinking is your nervous system in overdrive. That is one of the signs of worry. So, or I would say one of the expressions of a worried nervous system and worried personality. I also feel like I really want to mention this, and that is going back to the idea of earth as an element. So again, I come from a polarity therapy background, which looks largely at the Ayurvedic energy templates, although it does include some of the traditional Chinese medicine. But for the templates in terms of the astrology signs, we're looking at ether, air, fire, water, earth. And because Ayurvedic astrology looks at the astrology chart, the imprint, and the transitions as an essential part of the mix of elements we carry, and therefore how to work with them, it might be really interesting for some of you to look at Ayurvedic information around earth. What does an earth imbalance look like? What does it look like when it's extreme? What does it look like when it's deficient? What does it look like when it's balanced? Okay, so again, generally, a balanced earth field is going to be emotionally something where it's expressed as the ability to stay solid and grounded, while at the same time being able to reflect whatever's going on against their personality and their ego structure, because the ego is associated in polarity therapy, is associated with the root chakra, the earth chakra. Okay? Fear and courage are the two polar emotions that Taurus will tend to move back and forth with as they're learning, as they're growing. It's challenging their fears and moving forward, having courage to challenge those fears, whether it's in the world around you or within yourself. Okay? And often within yourself is the hardest, because we like structure. Taurus likes structure. And what is the first structure, or second structure? It's our personality. It's our ego structure. That is in earth. So we can be very attached to those things, which is why sometimes we get called stubborn, determined perhaps, determined when we're balanced, perhaps stubborn when we're out of balance, as a way to kind of hang on and feel the structure and be stable. I'm going to leave you with this, Taurus. I feel as though, again, I'm just going to reiterate, walk softly this coming week. Choose your words from that more of that receptive, gentle, softer, feminine side that is willing to watch and be receptive without taking things in and without taking them personally. If you find yourself going into worry about anything, do your best to say, no, I'm going back into my grounded state. I'm going to use humor. I'm going to use laughter. I'm going to watch my favorite British comedies. I'm going to read the Far Side cartoons. I'm going to do whatever is going to lift my heart and allow me to get out of any momentum of negative thought. Please remember, and this is so important for everybody coming in now, there is so much chaotic thought out there. There is so much fear. There are so many different emotions that are spiraling out of control. It's super important now for us to stay grounded and not let the tempests in our own lives latch on to that cosmic energy that's so distracting and so distraught. This is where we really need to engage deliberately with our high heart, with our loving heart, with compassion, and with being grounded, regularity, stability, structure. Lean into that in a way that supports you. And also for you, Taurus, your physical senses are really important. So wherever you find your physical senses being agitated, look back and say, how can I calm this? How can I alter this? Your physical sensations are expressions of how the energy is moving through your psyche and your body. So use that as a way to say, ooh, okay, where can I adjust now? It's kind of what Ayurveda is all about. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. It was a little longer than I planned. Take care, my very dear Taurus peoples. Good luck. Walk softly.